So we're going to use the Teacher's Console to do two things. So I'm launching that. That'll work. I'm going to enter in the teacher's password, 99701, the zip code for Fairbanks, Alaska. And we're going to use it to manage teams and to manage reports. So right now let's look at manage reports first. So I click on manage reports and I have one active button that I can use right now, which is show class roster. So when I click on show class roster, it's going to access each of the XML data files that are in the data folder for each player and load up the last save values for all of the KSBs in the multiplayer. So right now in the data folder, this is what's saved. And then this is only refreshed when I reload, when I relaunch the Teacher's Console. So I can toggle this roster on and off, and that's because we have some other buttons that are going to appear in future releases. So if I want to see this data new, refreshed, then I need to exit the console, relaunch the console, and then I'll see that again. So then the other button is Manage Teams. We're going to look at that in a moment. But first let's look at Manage Reports, because we want to be able to see what's happening in the class when the players are playing the KSBs and saving it. So as an example here, I'm going to launch KSB1, pretend I'm a player. And let's pretend I'm player ID 05. So I'll type in 05 and I'm going to play a little bit of KSB1. And I'll solve for the cube. It gets some energy points here, 168, and save. Okay, I was player ID 5. Now, if I go back to class roster, which I've had this open continuously, I can hit manage reports all I want, and the data is still going to be the data that existed when I first opened this. So I'm going to close it and open it again. And now, when I go to Manage Reports, then I'll see that the data that was saved by player ID 5 was 168, and it took one attempt and 0 awards were earned. So now I'm going to continue on. I'll play a moment of KSB2A. Again, I'll log in as player 05. And I'll run into the room here and collect a gem, and then I'll save. $99,701. And as you can see, now I have saved data from player 5 for KSB1 and KSB2, 2A. Let's say that I opened up KSB3 and I happen to be player 22. So I'm going to come over here and solve for a pack. Or not. Okay, so I'm going to save and open up the Teacher's Console again. Whoops, not yet. 99701. And manage reports, and now I can see, sure enough, for player 22 that data was saved over here for KSB3. Meanwhile, the data is intact from what KSB 1 and 2A for player 5, and this is how the class data will appear as the students progress through the levels. So each time I want to know, okay, what's the current data that's available in the folder, then I open up the console, new, and relaunch it, and then go to Manage Reports and Show Class Roster. The other thing that we're going to do with teams, and this is essential for using the multiplayer, is we're going to set a team or teams, multiple teams for the class, and then we're going to turn them on so that the players can log in. So the sequence of operations for using the multiplayer, whether you're doing it across the network like you would with your class, or if you're just testing it on your own machine, number one, set up the team. Number two, the teacher launches the multiplayer and makes sure that the server says that it's ready. And then number three, the players can launch their individual multiplayers, and as they do, it's going to automatically log them on to the team that they have been set into, and their player assignment will appear and they won't have to do anything. It will just automatically log them on. So I'm going to set a team. Let's say I'm going to put in the orange team player 2, player 12, player 17, and player 18. So these are the 4 players that I want to be in the orange team, and I'm going to activate their ability to log in by hitting this green button. Now this doesn't mean that the multiplayer is ready, because in order for that to happen, first the teacher has to launch the multiplayer server. But now I'm going to set the team. Click the Set Team button. Now that's been saved into the console XML file in the data folder. So I can go to Manage Reports here and look at Class Roster and come back to Manage Teams, and I can see, okay, there's the teams that are set. And if I clear teams, then I have removed everybody, and there are no team assignments set up anymore. So I'm going to, let's just say, just to make it easy to see later, I'm going to say players 1, 2, 3, and 4 are in the orange team, and I'm going to set that. Now only those 4 players now will be able to log into the multiplayer. So if I'm player 14, even though the teacher has started the multiplayer, I won't be able to log in because I don't have a team assignment. So that's the second use of the teacher's console. So another tool that's available to be handy for printing a roster or saving a roster to a hard drive, or maybe you want to submit it to the research team, is this class data web page. So this is a shortcut to the class data page that's actually inside the data folder here. So when we double click this, it's just going to launch a web page in our browser on our computer. It's obviously not having to go out to the web because the page is right there on our hard drive. And it's using a JavaScript, so we'll have to tell it to allow that to run. So then it shows us the same data that we see in the teacher's console. So there's player 5, and we can come down here to player 22. So the whole purpose of this form is to be able to easily print, send it to the printer. So I can type in my name, and I can say what class period this is for, the group that I'm working with. It has a date and time stamp. So I just hit this print page button, and it's going to go to whatever default printer I have selected. More usefully, perhaps I could print it to a PDF document and use that to submit to the research team, or save as my daily backup archive to my teacher station. And then we could always go to the page tools and then save as, and if we wanted to, we could save the page as a text file. So those are 2 different ways that we can save data that we could be submitting into the research team and saving for our own records to transfer over to whatever kind of a gradebook we're using to keep grade data on our class.